It was a bitter morning in Seattle, not the kind of cold that brings snow. No, this was the damp, bone-gnawing chill that crept through wool coats and whispered between the cracks in pavement. The kind of cold that made even time slow down. Wind whipped across the Puget Sound, dragging fog along with it, wrapping the city in a gray silence. Down by the waterfront, near a ledge that overlooked the waves, stood a man who hadn't slept in days. His name was Robert Mason, billionaire, founder of Bright Tech, the kind of man who once shook hands with presidents and whose face had graced the cover of Fortune magazine more times than he could count. Today, none of that mattered. His wool coat was tailored in Italy. His shoes, hand-stitched in London. His phone, which he clutched like a lifeline, was the newest model money could buy. But his eyes were hollow. The kind of hollow that comes from watching your world fall apart one piece at a time. 3 days ago, his wife drowned in these very waters. A boating accident. No foul play, no one to blame. Just a slip, a wave, and silence. Now his daughter, Lily Mason, 12 years old, lay in a hospital bed, machines humming quietly around her. A coma. Car crash. No one else involved. Just her, a curve in the road, and now doctors whispering behind clipboards. "Prepare for the worst," one of them had said, and Robert had nodded like a man being handed a sentence instead of a diagnosis. So now he stood at the edge of the water, watching it breathe. He didn't cry, not anymore. Grief had moved past tears, past rage. It was just weight now, heavy and unmoving. His hand trembled, and his phone slipped. It hit the concrete with a crack, screen shattering. Robert didn't even flinch. From a few feet away, someone spoke, softly, almost like a breath. "I can save her, sir." Robert turned, startled. Until that moment, he hadn't realized he wasn't alone. Sitting cross-legged on the cold stone, wrapped in a threadbare blanket, was a boy. 17, maybe younger. Skin the color of mahogany, eyes dark and watchful. A backpack sat next to him. He was holding a pencil, sketching something in a weathered notebook. The boy hadn't looked up. He just repeated the words, "I can save your daughter." Robert stared, blinking. "What did you just say?" Now the boy looked up. "I said I can help her, but you have to believe me." Robert took a step forward. He should have been angry. He wanted to be. But there was no mockery in the boy's face, no twisted smile or scam, just calm, stillness, certainty. "Who are you?" Robert asked, voice hoarse. The boy stood slowly. Tyler James." "Are you—" Robert's words caught in his throat. "Are you trying to take advantage of me?" Tyler shook his head. "No, sir." "You're a kid." Robert's voice sharpened. "A homeless kid." "Yes, sir," Tyler said without shame. "Then how? Why? What makes you think you can help her?" Tyler reached into his backpack and pulled out a notebook. Not the sketchbook, a different one. A journal, leather-bound, fraying at the edges. He held it out. "My mom was a neuroscientist," he said quietly. "She used to teach me things before she passed." Robert didn't move. "What kind of things?" "She believed the brain can be nudged awake through rhythm, sensory stimulation, repetition. She called it cognitive percussion. Said sometimes even when doctors give up, the body remembers. The mind listens." Robert stared at the boy like he'd grown a second head. But then, maybe out of desperation, maybe out of something else, he took the notebook. Inside were pages and pages of diagrams, notes, even footnotes referencing published medical papers. Handwritten, meticulous, scientific. But beside them, drawn in pencil, were figures, arcs of pressure points, finger patterns, breathing rhythms, like a dance between science and instinct. "Is this real?" Robert whispered. "It worked once," Tyler said, "when my mom was alive, on a patient who hadn't spoken in 6 months." Robert shut the notebook. "You have 10 seconds to convince me this isn't some kind of elaborate lie." Tyler didn't flinch. "You said you've tried everything, that the doctors have given up. I'm not promising a miracle. I'm just asking for one chance." Robert looked down at the broken phone at his feet. For the first time in days, the fog in his mind thinned, not cleared, but thinned. Enough for a thought to pass through. What if? He took a business card from his wallet and handed it to Tyler. "Be at North Shore Medical tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. If you're late, you're gone." Tyler took the card, nodded. Robert turned and walked away, his shoes echoing against the pavement. For the first time in days, he didn't feel like he was walking off a cliff. He wasn't filled with hope. Not yet. But the weight on his chest had shifted, just slightly. Enough to leave a question behind. And sometimes a question is more powerful than an answer. The hospital lights never dimmed. North Shore Medical Center, one of the most advanced private clinics in the Pacific Northwest, was all polished chrome and glass, a fortress of science where hope came with invoices and pain had an appointment time. The pediatric ICU was silent, but never still. Machines beeped, vitals flashed across screens, nurses moved like ghosts, quick and careful. Lily Mason lay in the center of it all, small beneath the blankets. Her chest rose and fell with mechanical precision, each breath orchestrated by a ventilator. Electrodes dotted her temples. Her eyelids didn't flutter. She didn't twitch. She didn't move. Her father sat at her side. Robert Mason, the man who once built a tech empire on algorithms and logic, now watched numbers on a monitor like they were scripture. Brain activity low, blood pressure stable but weak. The words the doctor had used yesterday still echoed. "Her brain hasn't responded in over a week. We're doing everything we can. But, Mr. Mason, you should prepare." He hadn't asked for what, because he already knew. But despite the stillness of the room, despite the weight in his chest, Robert couldn't stop glancing at the clock. 6:52 a.m. He didn't know why he had told the boy to come. Desperation, maybe. Insanity, probably. But something about the kid had hooked into his mind. Not pity. Robert had seen thousands of homeless people in his life and forgotten them the next minute. No, this was something else. It was the way Tyler had looked at him. Not like he needed something, not like he was begging, like he already knew something Robert didn't. By 6:59, he was beginning to regret it. By 7:01, he stood to leave and tell the front desk to send the boy away. By 7:03, the elevator doors opened. Tyler James walked in, backpack slung over his shoulder, same old blanket jacket. But today he had washed his face. His hair was combed. He looked, if not polished, at least ready. The nurse at the station blinked. "Sir, He shouldn't be here." Robert raised his hand. He's with me." Tyler didn't speak. He looked at the room, at the machines, at Lily, and then he stepped forward. Robert blocked his path, voice low and cold. "You said you could help, so I'm giving you 10 minutes, one chance. But if you so much as—" "I won't hurt her," Tyler interrupted softly. "I promise." Robert hesitated, then stepped aside. The room seemed to shrink as the boy approached the bed. He took off his backpack, pulled out his mother's journal, and placed it on the table beside Lily. He didn't touch the machines. He didn't adjust anything. Instead, he knelt, not in prayer, in focus. He pulled out a small object, a worn metronome, no battery, just a manual tick. He placed it near her pillow, twisted the knob, and let it tick, tick, tick. Then he touched her hand, 2 fingers, gentle, rhythmic taps. Once every 2 seconds, just like the metronome. Tap, tap, tap. Then he spoke. "Hi, Lily. My name's Tyler. I know you don't know me. That's okay. I'm just here to help you remember that you're still here." Tap, tap. "I know it's dark where you are. Quiet, maybe heavy, but that's not the end. You're not done yet." His fingers moved. Different rhythm now. Thumb to knuckle. Circular pressure. "This is called stimulus tracing," he explained. Not to Robert, but to Lily. "It tells your brain your body is still here, that you're connected." Robert stood, arms crossed, watching. He was waiting for the lie to reveal itself, for the show to end. But Tyler didn't perform. He focused. He took Lily's wrist and gently rolled it, then pressed his hand against her forearm, palm to skin, just enough pressure to activate her nerves. He changed the rhythm. Tap, press, tap, press. All the while, his voice hummed low. "You're still here. You're still strong. Your dad's here, too." Robert blinked. He hadn't told Tyler her name. He hadn't told him anything. And yet, Tyler seemed to speak like he knew her, like he knew the space she had fallen into, and how to reach her. After 15 minutes, nothing had changed. The monitors beeped the same way. The lines were flat. The nurses outside the glass shook their heads, some smirking. Robert stepped forward. "All right, that's enough." Then Lily moved. Not much. A twitch, a flutter, her left eyelid. Robert froze. The nurse burst through the door. "Did you see that?" Another monitor pinged. Pulse increase, slight, but measurable. Tyler didn't react. He just kept tapping. "Don't rush it," he murmured. "Her brain's listening." 5 more minutes. Another twitch. Her fingers curled ever so slightly. Tyler finally sat back, breathing slowly. "That's all for now. It's too much if we keep going." Robert stared at him. "How did you—" "What was that?" Tyler wiped his hands on his jeans. "Tactile entrainment, sensory feedback, familiar rhythm. It's not magic. You're a teenager." "I had a good teacher." Silence fell between them. Finally, Robert asked, "What do you want?" Tyler looked confused. "What? You didn't ask for money or a job. Why are you helping?" Tyler shrugged. "Because someone has to." Robert studied him. Then, for the first time, he said something softer. "Do you have anywhere to sleep?" Tyler hesitated. "I manage." "That's not a no." He looked at Lily, then at Robert. "I'm not doing this for a place to stay. I just I know what it's like to feel helpless. My mom, she used to say people forget how powerful gentle things can be. Robert nodded slowly. Then he surprised himself. There's a guest room at my place. It's not charity. It's appreciation. Tyler didn't respond right away. Then he smiled. Small, grateful. I'll come by later. I need to get my things. All right, Robert said. All right. That evening, Tyler arrived at the Mason estate. A mansion, really. White stone, high ceilings, glass everywhere. He stepped inside with his small backpack and looked lost for the first time. Robert handed him a house key. You can stay as long as you need. Tyler nodded. That night he sat by Lily's bedside again, quietly reading her stories, tapping her hand, whispering rhythms only she could hear. And for the first time in weeks, Robert Mason didn't sit in his office, drowning in fear. He sat outside the room, listening to something he thought he had lost forever. Hope. The morning Lily Mason opened her eyes, it was raining, not a storm, not the violent kind that rattles windows, but a soft, persistent rain that tapped against the glass like a memory. Tyler was already there. He sat beside her bed in the same position he always did, knees crossed, hands folded, her pulse monitor quietly pinging in the background. His sketchbook lay closed on the windowsill, the latest page half finished. Lines that mimicked neural pathways, drawn like tree roots, curling around something central. A spark. Robert stood in the hallway, watching through the glass. He hadn't slept much, but he hadn't needed to. There was something different in the air this morning. He could feel it. Tyler leaned closer. Okay, Lily, he whispered. It's time. His fingers moved gently over her wrist. No rhythm this time. Just presence. Just connection. I know it's hard, he said. I know it's dark in there. But if you're still holding on, blink for me. At first, nothing. Then, slowly, as if it took all the strength in the world, her eyelids fluttered. Once, then again. Robert burst through the door. Did she? Tyler didn't look away from her. Yes. Lily, Robert said, breathless. He rushed to the side of her bed. Sweetheart, can you hear me? Her lips didn't move. Her mouth didn't open. But her eyes, they locked onto his face. And then, slowly, her fingers twitched. They closed around his. Tears broke down Robert's face like a dam snapping in half. He sank to his knees beside her bed, forehead resting against her hand, whispering words he hadn't dared speak aloud for weeks. Thank you, he said, to her, to God, to Tyler, to the world. The machines beeped on, but now they were alive with her. The doctors came. Nurses rushed in. One nearly dropped a clipboard. Tests were ordered, scans taken, but none of it could explain what had happened in those 30 minutes that morning. Her vitals improved. Neural activity increased. She responded to stimuli. She squeezed someone's hand, and all of it started with the boy no one had noticed. When the chaos settled, Tyler quietly stood to leave. Robert caught him in the hallway. Where are you going? Tyler adjusted the strap of his backpack. Thought I'd give you both some space. You don't have to go, Robert said. Tyler shrugged. It's okay. I'm not a doctor. Just a kid who helped. You're not just anything. Tyler looked down. I didn't bring her back. She did that herself. I just reminded her she could. Robert didn't say anything right away. Then he reached into his coat pocket. It wasn't money. It was a folded page, one of Tyler's sketches, the one from the night before, the neural tree. "She is coming back," Robert said, voice quiet. "And it's because of this, because of you." Tyler hesitated, took the drawing, folded it carefully. "I'm glad." He turned to go, but Robert called after him. "Do you have a plan, Tyler?" "Plan." "For your life." The boy paused. "Stay alive," he said. "Maybe help someone else." "Not good enough," Robert said. "You're too smart. You have a gift. That journal, those sketches, that's not just instinct, that's knowledge, real knowledge." Tyler didn't meet his eyes. "I don't have college money," he said. "I don't even have a transcript." "I have both," Robert replied, "and a spare room, and connections. Let me help you. Not because I owe you, because the world will. You change something in it today." Tyler stared at him for a long time. Then finally he nodded. "All right, but I'm not taking the big bedroom." Robert laughed. "Deal." 3 months later, Lily Mason took her first steps. It happened in the hospital rehab wing. Robert and Tyler stood at her sides. She wobbled once, twice, and then her feet steadied. Not perfect, not fast, but hers. The staff clapped. A nurse cried. Robert filmed it on his phone, but never posted it. It wasn't for the world. It was for the memory of that first night. The phone shattered at his feet. A boy wrapped in an old blanket, and the words, "I can save her, sir." Tyler never bragged. He kept helping, quietly. He spent afternoons with other patients, learned from therapists. He started drawing diagrams of muscle memory and tactile therapies. He had a system, a voice. He started writing, too. Essays, articles, a plan. One night, Robert found him asleep at the kitchen table, surrounded by books on neuroscience and physiology. He placed a blanket over his shoulders and left the lights low. The following year, Robert made a call, a private scholarship, full ride, any school, any path. Tyler hesitated. "I don't want to leave Lily," he said. Robert smiled. "She's not going anywhere, and neither are we." By the time spring came, Tyler James was enrolled in a pre-med program. He kept the old blanket, wore it on cold mornings, said it helped him remember why he started. Lily still walked with a limp, but she walked. And on some evenings, when the sun began to dip and the shadows grew long, she'd walk out to the garden where Tyler sat sketching and ask, "Did I really come back?" And he'd smile at her, small, real. "You never left.